events which will highlight your favorite products, manufacturers, artists, and more. Join us every day at 2 o'clock p.m. from November 1st through December 20th for exciting interviews, live audience Q&As, and a chance to win special prizes. Head over to the Fishman YouTube channel now to subscribe and set your notifications so you don't miss out on any of these events.
So along with using the Fluence pickups, I've also dabbled a bit with the Fishman acoustic product line. I have a Fishman acoustic pickup on my slimline nylon string, and I use that in conjunction with the Aura pedal, which is made for acoustic instruments, whether it's steel string, nylon, or any other type of acoustic instrument. The cool thing about that is that it has a bunch of different mic sims. It makes it sound like it's an actual room as opposed to a super DI sound. Very versatile. I can use a blend of the pedal with a DI. It has a little compressor in it and some EQ. Very useful tool. I use it quite a bit live. Another feature that I like about the Aura is that it has a direct out so that I can go directly from the pedal to front of house and not have to use any microphones, not have to use any cabs or anything like that to kind of get the sound that I need.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Fishman Partnership Series. I am your host, Ken Susi. If you're watching this feed right now, you are most likely on the Fishman Facebook, the Fishman YouTube, or the Lanikai Facebook. We're broadcasting across all of our social channels just so you guys can watch this great event. If you're not familiar with the Partnership Series, what this is every day at 2 o'clock, we go live with one of our important partners. Obviously, Fishman takes a lot of care. We take a lot of pride in our products as well as our partners, and we have great relationships with them. So we are here to showcase that, and we're giving you guys the opportunity to also jump into the conversation. So one thing that we are doing today is we're doing a giveaway. So attached to this live stream, you're going to see a link. Click the link and get your chance to enter into our contest for a Lanikai Julia Michaels White Pearl ukulele by Lanikai. So this is very, very exciting. Make sure to click the link in the description. Right now, we have Mr. Rob Ketch. He is the Senior Vice President of Sales. Hi, how you doing, Rob?
I'm doing good, Ken. How about you?
I'm absolutely living the dream. So I think we should not waste any time and bring up our guests. We have Derek Frank and Rock Clouser from Lanikai. How you guys doing?
Doing well. How you guys doing?
We're both living the dream. I have to be upfront and honest with you guys. So yesterday I crossed Rob in the halls and I said, we're talking ukuleles, so you better be wearing a flowered shirt because I'm wearing a flowered shirt. And I didn't live up to the expectation. I'm going to show you Rob Ketch real quick. He's wearing a flowered shirt. He looks amazing.
As close as I have to aloha wear.
So let me ask you guys real quick. So let's start off. Obviously, you guys have been in the music business for a while, but how did you both first encounter music?
I'll let you start.
Wow. Music for me started around age 9 and has never stopped. I've played about 12 different string instruments, all string instruments. I have nothing in winds or percussion or anything like that, but all strings. So I've always had a real interest in strings and how they're done. I have a large guitar collection, played in several bands and all of that. But just worked in retail and kind of jumped over to the manufacturing side and the distribution side. But just really getting all of the different angles for me, and it's just interesting to see all of the different sides. So and that's one of the things about working here for me is we're 20 brands under one roof, so we don't do just one thing. So that's kind of a quick thumbnail of where I started to how I got here. What did it for you?
I mean, I've been playing drums since I was 4. My dad is an incredible bass player, but he had a drummer that owed him money, and he wouldn't give him his kit back until he paid him. Typical drummer. And so that's how I got started. And all through high school was into singing and playing. And then I decided I wanted to be a frontman, so I started playing more guitar and graduated from Eastern Illinois University with a music education degree. Then moved to Nashville, did the touring thing, and here I am doing artist relations.
I was going to say that was my next question. Before I ask it, everyone that's watching out there, obviously the line is open. We can right now. People are saying San Dimas High School football rules. Bill and Ted quote. I don't know why, but we will be posting your questions right on the screen. Please follow up, ask us questions, ask Derek and Rock some questions as well too. But yeah, that's actually the question I wanted to ask, and you kind of led us there. Can you tell the audience a little bit about how you got into the incredible position you are in now at Lanikai? Because it's tough to get a gig in the music industry.
Yeah, me personally, I moved to Nashville and helped open the Nashville School of Rock here in town, which is a really successful location. And I loved it. I was there for 3 years and just kept building on that experience, and then went on tour full time as an artist. And I was getting burnt out on the road. So I knew some people that worked here at KHS America and Lanikai, and was like, hey guys, maybe I want a desk job again. And I was here in sales for about a year, and the position opened for artist relations. And I was like, well, this is perfect. I've already been an artist. I kind of get that world a little bit more. And so I've been in this role about 2.5 years now, and it's been great. I love it. It's a cool job.
Nice. How about you, Rock?
Well, for me, I came into the music industry, other than performing, through teaching, and had a lot of lessons every week. And for years, I taught about 50 lessons a week. And tried to bring as many people into the music business as possible through their playing, but working in stores, eventually became a manager of the store. And we were a store that at that time we stocked 21 brands of guitars. So I had to kind of learn all the ins and outs of guitars, and what made each guitar brand what it is. And I think that's been very influential in kind of designing is what is this brand. From the designing part of it, I jumped over into distribution, and the company that I worked for at that time bought some brands and said, "Does anybody know anything about guitars and possibly designing them?" And I said, "Well, I used to custom order instruments, so yeah, I know a little bit about it." And they said, "Okay, we're going to." Give some things to use, so go wild. So I went wild, and it seemed to work more than not. So there's not really a school for it per se. You have to take a lot of things in, as Derek was talking about, varied experience, and that's kind of what led me here. It's not been one location. I've moved a few times, but you kind of have to go where the industry takes you in this business. But it's keeping your eyes and ears open, building on every experience, and kind of taking something away, and doing things better and better, and learning from everything. So that's what eventually led me to here. And through my history of doing a lot of different instruments, Lanikai was at a point where it needed to be redesigned and kind of refreshed, and I wanted to be very true to the brand, and take it to a place that would be beneficial for the brand, but not exit what it had been in the past. And so that's kind of what led us here today.
That's amazing. Actually, I love both the differences between your stories, but it's awesome. For those that are watching out there that aspire to be artist relations guys or work for a company, it's great to hear your story. So let me ask you this question. And I know my reasons for being at Fishman, but what do you like the most about working for your company?
Well, as I said a little bit earlier, we're 20 brands. So we do harmonicas and accordions and wind instruments, percussion, guitar stands. I mean, we do a wide variety of things. So there's always something percolating. We have specialists in every field, and we have a lot of expertise in the building. But we all kind of bounce things off of each other. So one day you might get an idea from a percussion guy. You might get it from an accordion product manager or whatever. So it's interesting to see different takes and draw on different experiences, and it makes us stronger, I think, as a company, to bring all of this combined knowledge together, and it gives us different perspectives. So that's one of the things I enjoy, is having the multitude of different viewpoints under one roof.
Yeah, and I'm kind of in that same boat. I love the diversity of the company. I personally represent 5 different brands, and I get to work with such an incredible roster. I get to work with anybody from Steven Tyler to Julia Michaels, and to be able to have those caliber of artists, it makes it a little bit easier when you're not the artist anymore, and you've it was hard taking a step out of that role, but it's been really fulfilling doing this.
Very cool. Rock, from working with you for many years, I know that you always bring a lot of passion into every instrument that you design. Nothing is a throwaway. Everything is very serious. Everything has a real point of view to it. How do you balance that diversity that you have at KHS America with all those great inputs but also creating such a strong brand identity for Lanikai, right? You know, Lanikai always looks like a very considered brand with great instruments for players all the way from beginning students up to the top pros that Derek works with. I would just, that seems like an incredible, I won't say challenge, but you guys do an incredible job in organizing that. And I was just curious, the Lanikai story, how you keep that so strong and how clean throughout the line.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your observation there. Really, when we, as you know, I'm very respectful of brands, any brand that I've worked for, and we've worked together with several brands that I've designed through the years. I feel it's very important that the brand be what it is, and it's when you have problems and you start saying, "Oh, we can do everything to all people," that you start to develop issues. You can't be everything to all people. So, in that same vein, it's important to focus. What are we? What can we do well? And let's do that great. You know, let's make that our statement. But I think what I try to do anytime I start working for a brand or designing for a brand is bring it down, dissect it first before you start building. A lot of people, I think, would come in and say, "Oh, I need to do this, I need to do this," and we'll see what works, see what sticks. Throw all those darts at the wall, you know. I tend to do the opposite, and I tend to try to think of what should it be and what can it be, and not just what is possible. In other words, it needs to go in the right direction to match the brand. And so with every instrument I design, I try to, whether it's a lower end brand or a higher end brand, I have to put on the hat of the player. What does the player or the consumer need from this instrument? And you can over design very quickly and very easily and make it so fancy that it's great, but that's not what the player needed out of that. Or it could have a great tone but be too expensive for what the person wanted. So there's a balance there that you have to put on different hats, and that's an important part. You'd ask about designing before, how do you get into designing? That's an important part of it. Is, as a designer, you're not here to design instruments that you want as much as what's needed in the industry. So I look at it a lot like, the artist wants to paint the picture, but they need all of the colors to be able to do that. So I try to provide those colors, whether it's a darker tone, a brighter tone, something fancy that they're seeing on stage, something they just enjoy, the flexibility of the instrument. So that's kind of how I stay true to what the brand is. And we here in the building break every brand down into kind of the purest form of what it is. And every product we develop, we try to run it through that gauntlet. Does this meet the criteria? Not just it's a new product, but does the new product follow what we're trying to do with the brand? And part of the cool thing about that is then the market catches what you're trying to promote too, and they start to focus and say, "Oh, I know what that brand is now," and that helps separate, because we know there's a lot of brands, there's a lot of choices out there, and so the more you can help the consumer know what you're all about, the more they can be satisfied with their purchase. I know what this is, and it will deliver, and that's kind of the whole essence of what we try to do.
No, very cool. Thank you, Rock. Really, really appreciate the detail on that. Perhaps a lot of people watching today, at least one of them right here, are guitar players, right? Or perhaps ukulele is not their primary instrument. One of the things that I'm amazed by getting into the ukulele world and starting to understand it is the incredible culture that goes with the instrument. It seems as though there's a social aspect to ukulele and a cultural aspect that Lanikai really contributes to. for those of us that once again play instruments with too many strings on them, perhaps you could enlighten us a little bit about ukulele culture and some of the ways that Lanikai has intersected with it over the years and enriched it.
Well, I'll speak to that, but I know Derek's got some input on this too. So, as far as my side, um, I think guitar players are just starting to discover what the ukulele can provide them. It's not a different fingering as much as it is a different tonality, a different layer, and so a lot of guitar players are coming over to a ukulele as a secondary or a third instrument, but it's a new way of thinking, and so we're appealing to guitarists because we have a lot of features that are guitarist friendly. So we have a lot of that culture. And when you speak of the culture, I kind of feel like we're including more of kind of the combo guitar culture with Lanikai than maybe other brands because we're kind of guitarist friendly. We kind of have that same um, mix of features and things that guitarists appreciate. So that's kind of our thing is uh, we're not just appealing to ukulele players. We want to appeal to the range of musicians that might not have discovered ukulele yet, or the level of player that started on ukulele and is now looking for a nicer instrument, a step up instrument. So we want to speak to the range of musicians and not only the ukulele culture, which is a very strong culture, but we want to bring new thoughts and new ideas into that culture, and it probably comes from the guitar side. So,
Yeah,
what are your
yeah,
thoughts?
and me being originally on the educator side as well, and then moving into this different world, it's such a great tool for teaching and for either young players that have never played anything, or even older players that want to start a new hobby. And that's where we really see the culture building a lot is in the older demographics. There's so many youth clubs because they've got a little bit more expendable income. They've got more time on their hands, and they don't necessarily want to have to learn an instrument that is going to take them months and months just to build calluses and learn the chords.
Mhm.
So we've done a really good job with harboring that mentality of, all right, this is cool because Lanikai can be your first ukulele, and then you can be your step up ukulele, and then it can be your higher end ukulele as well. So we really try to hit all of those sides of that market while also keeping in mind that, like Rock said, we really want to go after those guitarists of the world that might only play it one song or two songs a night, but when they do, we want them to play a Lanikai.
Nice. Well, actually, I'm going to take this opportunity real quick to talk about our partnership, our giveaway currently right now. We are giving away a Lanikai Julia Michaels White Pearl signature ukulele. So get into the mix. Head over to any of our socials that are broadcasting the stream right now, and you can enter to win just by clicking the link. But I was gonna say, you guys are mentioning young players and stuff. I'm seeing a lot of young musicians gravitating towards the ukulele. What do you think it is about the ukulele that brings people together? It's becoming a very social instrument.
Yeah, it's as you mentioned, it's easy to play first of all. So because of the nylon strings and the relatively lower tension, you don't have any pain or something like the steel string on a guitar would develop initially. So it's quick to learn. It's easy. Most beginning chords, at least, are one or two fingers, and so it's a way to get in easily. The range of instruments available are relatively easy to get in at a low level or higher level, mid level, whatever your budget can provide. There's probably a ukulele somewhere in that range that's going to meet what you need, at least to get started. And then I think there's a lot of online content that is driving a lot of this, and it's being shared. And it's making it more of a community than perhaps it has been in years past. And so I think that's really kind of driving what's going on now. Is just it's easy to get into, easy to play, and the amount of support that you have. If you have a question, you can always find an answer. If you want to learn a song, somebody's probably done it. And so it's just the whole kind of perfect storm. And not to mention COVID driving everyone inside at the moment. I'm sure there's many ukulele players emerging from this time as well.
Great, great. Actually, we are not ignoring the questions that are popping up here. Sugar is saying that I love my 10-year-old ukulele. So they have one of your ukuleles, and they absolutely love it. Quiet Goodbye is writing Fishman as in Fishman pickups. Yes, we supply Lanikai with ukulele pickups, and he said, awesome. Heard great things about your acoustic pickups over the years. Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm going to hand this over to Rob. Here you go, Rob.
Absolutely. As both Derek and Rock were mentioning, it's very cool that Lanikai has instruments for people sort of at every level of their musical journey. You make a high quality instrument for them to get started with. You make the step up instrument for them. And you make the completely professional top of the range instruments as well. And you know, in working with Lanikai here at Fishman, we always try to have the electronics really match where the instruments are and make sure they're supporting the direction of the instrument first. And I know one of the most exciting artists playing Lanikai instruments today is Julia Michaels. And Julia, we mentioned regarding the giveaway that we're having, which is a Fishman equipped signature series Lanikai ukulele. Derek and Rock, could you share a little bit of the story? I think Julia's got a really unique story as an artist, and obviously she's reached people in a number of different ways. But for those of us that aren't entirely familiar with her career, could you share a little bit of the detail of her story, how she came to work with Lanikai, and what might be next with the collaboration with Julia?
I'll let Derek start. Kind of the story doesn't start recently; it actually goes back. So I'll let him start and speak about the relationship, and then I'll speak to the design.
Yeah, it's such a cool story of how Lanikai and Julia came to be. Julia is actually from my hometown, and I didn't know her. I went to high school with her cousins, so it was kind of a weird thing how this all started. But when she was 16 years old, she bought her first ukulele and started writing songs, and that was a Lanikai. And she wrote songs for Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande, Selena Gomez, Britney Spears, Gwen Stefani, and a lot of those were written on her Lanikai. So 2 years ago, she went on a big tour with Keith Urban and then also with Pink. And her drummer was or is a Mapex artist, which is one of our family brands. And he called his artist relations guy here at the company and said, "Hey, you guys have ukuleles, right?" Like, "Yeah, we do." And they're like, "Well, we're going to Australia. We need ukuleles like tomorrow. Could you help out?" So I got in touch with them and I sent them out. And Julia was over the moon because she was like, "Oh my gosh, they're Lanikai. That's what I already play. That's what I own." And so she went out and she would do 2 songs a night with her. Well, it started with a red quilted maple Lanikai, and she would go out in the crowd and sing her song Apple. And it just kept taking off and taking off. And we just saw all of these new people getting interested in Lanikai that hadn't before. And so as our relationship kind of kept growing and she was touring more and getting bigger, we had kicked around the idea of doing our first signature ukulele, and it was like, well, maybe we should talk to Julia about it. So I flew out to Madison, Wisconsin, and she did a sold out show there on her own. And while we were there, we were talking about this idea, and she loved it. And that's when the design ideas started coming out, and it's been so incredible to see it. And she's featured that ukulele on Songland, and I know that there's some stuff coming up soon that it's going to be featured on that we can't really say yet. But if you watch The Voice, you might know. Um, So there's what we can't tell you.
Nice.
So as far as the design, the way it transpired from there, it was an idea session, and we kind of threw out a lot of ideas, started narrowing things down, took many of them to Julia, and so what do you think of this and this and this? And again, from a design standpoint, I always like to get really what the artist needs, wants, and what they expect out of the instrument, because different artists through the years have expected different things. And Julia was very straightforward. Is she just wanted an excellent instrument that she could play out of the box, that
Mhm.
any of her many fans out there could go into the store and get exactly what she was playing on stage. That was very important to her. She didn't want any special bells and whistles that were on her instrument that weren't available to her fans. So we started at that. Obviously, it needs to be a stable, great instrument, but how do we build in a bit of Julia into this without making it a big commercial of her? So she again just wanted it to be a nice instrument that anyone would play, and not all about her. So that's refreshing when you work with an artist like that, that really cares about the instrument and their fans first. So that was very encouraging. But in conversations, we kind of found out that she kept a journal for much of the early songwriting career. I think she still does.
Yeah, she still does.
And the way she or kind of dealt with issues and things that were going on in her life were with little images and pictures. And then she would go back and think how those made her feel, and that's where the inspiration for songs came from. So I felt that was important, that somehow we build this great story of, if something's going on, you can turn it into a positive in your life and draw a little picture about it, and maybe you can write a song about it. So we came up with the idea that in the internal sound hole label, there are some of Julia's original drawings in there that kind of inspired different songs in different ways. So any of her fans that know that background story about the journal can look inside and actually see something that Julia herself created. So again, putting a part of that the artist into the instrument itself without making it a big commercial. It's a subtle feature, but it's one that her fans will recognize. And then part of it too is we um, feel music is so important, and Julia as well, that she has a foundation, and a portion of all proceeds go to her foundation to help other kids get started and a successful life. So it's kind of full circle, giving back. Music gave so much to her when she was young and starting out, and is still giving to her. She wants that as part of her story, as an ongoing legacy.
Yeah, and one other thing with the design part of it, and this isn't just because we're on here with you guys. One of the biggest things that she was adamant about was that it had Fishman electronics in it, and that was because with the ones that she had before with our quilted maple that she was using all across the world, it's equipped with the Fishman electronics, and all of the sound guys were like, "This doesn't sound like one of those little toy ukuleles and stuff. It sounds so good, and it's so easy to EQ and through the system." And I mean, these are systems that are sold out arenas. And so she said, when we do this, I want everybody that buys my signature uke to have what I have on stage. And that means that it had to have a Fishman in it.
Mhm.
Wow, that's a pretty incredible artist story. And Derek, you just kind of stole my next question. Thank you. And I know that Lanikai have been longtime great partners with Fishman, and we've worked and collaborated on a ton of great sounding instruments. I think it really speaks to Julia's integrity and to Lanikai's integrity that she was so adamant about having that instrument that's available to her fans be the genuine article, right? Be ready to perform and use, and built to the same quality level that she plays in, sold out arenas every night. So fantastic story. Very, very cool collaboration for sure.
Yeah.
So we have Sugar popping up here saying, just signed up for the giveaway. Time to upgrade my Lanikai. So excellent. I'm so glad. Just for those that are just joining on, we are here live with Lanikai. We are broadcasting across their Facebook, our YouTube, and also our Facebook. So if you see a link in the description, you can enter to win this amazing Lanikai Julia Michaels White Pearl signature ukulele. We were just talking about it, and it is a great instrument. So get your chance to win. We are here with Derek Frank and Rock Clouser. Here it is. Richard's saying, I can't believe how much I love my ukulele. So you guys are doing something right over there for sure.
Well, and that one's fair, but also not fair. Richard is actually one of our very supportive artists on our roster as well, and he plays the red quilted maple that Julia used to play. Thank you, Richard.
Yeah, thank you. I'm posting your question up here again. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate you showing up. The ukulele boom has been going on for some time. So from your perspective, what created that boom, and what do you think has sustained it?
Well, the ukulele itself as an instrument, working in retail for several years, was kind of like, oh yeah, I think we've got one of those instruments for a long time. I mean, anyone that was in a music store a few years ago would remember they might be back with like a dulcimer or a bagpipe, or kind of like, yeah, I think we've got a couple. But as you know, it's through the roof now. So what's kind of caused it? The history, going back a few years, say to the 30s. It was really popular in the 30s, and there were different artists through the years. Formby was an English player that I believe was very popular in the 30s. Then there was let's see, Arthur Godfrey in the 50s, kind of had a TV show. People usually cite Tiny Tim in the 70s. So it's kind of like every 20 years it was kind of making the rounds. So through the 90s, it's Israel came out with his Wonderful World, and Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And so as this cycle came back around, it got more support. And I think the support kind of leans to what I said before in the video, kind of kept it going and shared it faster. And so the word of mouth got out there. And so it got its surge again, and then the surge just exploded. So once the original surge came back, I think the ease and the depth in which it could be shared and experienced, and as more companies started to join the family, Lanikai was one of the first ukulele during this boom. So we kind of pride ourselves in being kind of one of the rudders of the boom here. But as other companies joined and made different price options available in different colors and styles, and all of the different features, I think that just made it more of a uh, yes, a trend, but kind of a fashion statement too. People were keeping ukes in their corner of their bedroom, and taking them to different park things, and just kind of throwing it in the backpack, so to speak, as the backpack got more popular. So I think it's a type of instrument that can be shared. It's easy to carry and all of that. So I think that's what sustained it, is it just the sharing capabilities of it. And it's been adopted by young, old. I mean, there are pros, the guitar player side of it. Studios are keeping them on display now for another layer. We have an artist that does background music for Disney and Pixar, and he tells us that over 90% of what he does has a ukulele somewhere on it. Maybe not the feature instrument, but it's a layer, it's a texture now that's appreciated and almost expected by the listener. So I think that type of support and that type of blending across the culture has really supported this particular cycle. Did you
Yeah.
have anything?
I mean, they have so many ranges of price points too, and I think that is a huge factor as to why it's still sustainable. Because the kid that buys one for $30, okay, now it's fun. Now I need a better instrument. Now I've got one for 100. Now I've got one for 300. So I think that the instrument has grown so much from just having a few options to having thousands of different options through different brands has made it grow as well.
And there's another point I'll add here is the range of instruments. For a long time, it was just a soprano, concert, tenor, and baritone. Now there are 4 strings, 5 strings, 6 strings, 8 strings. Ukulele players don't have one ukulele typically. It's kind of you grow,
They're worse than
and
guitarists when it
yeah.
comes to buying
I
instruments.
don't have one of these. I need one type
Being a
of.
heavy metal guitar player, I'm waiting for your 8-string ukulele.
Oh, okay, okay. Well,
I do actually personally own a Lanikai, so I love your instruments. If there was one thing that your company could set out to do better than anybody else in the world, what is that thing?
you take that one.
Yeah, I think we've touched on this, and I think the biggest thing is one that we are catering to this market that the ukulele community hasn't really catered to the guitarist and the touring and playing musicians, where we really push hard on that. But the other thing that I know, and I can personally say this because I'm one that personally handles a lot of this, is that the customer experience for us is second to none. I will personally talk to anyone that owns a Lanikai. I'm in all of the ukulele groups. I'm the one that's answering the messages as well as our social media teams. But we do offer a lifetime warranty. But besides that, it has to be that people not only trust our instruments, but they trust us, that we're going to give them the right advice, that we're going to give them the right support, and that goes so far. And I think especially in the last 3 years, that has made a huge difference for us.
Yeah, and if there was a message that I would add that we could give to people out there is to try it, because so many people are afraid of instruments and I've got to learn this, I've got to do this, I don't know how to read music, I don't know how to do this. If there's some message that we could give to people is get involved with music at whatever level that you can do. It is so rewarding just to sit on your back step or your porch or something. And you may never be professional, but your fun that you will get out of this and just sharing it and come up with an idea, write a song about it. It's just an incredible experience that you can take through your whole life. And if there was one message that I could give, would be the passion for music can be at any level. So experience what you can do at whatever level you can provide. So.
Yeah. Richard popped back in and said, just to back up everything you guys are saying, it's so much fun. It's so easy to play. I can't believe the progress I've made in 6 months. It's definitely an instrument that if you're kind of already playing guitar, you could pick up and just start jamming on. And Nick is writing that you guys are two absolute legends right here. So it's just a feather in your cap. You guys are killing it, and Nick knows it. So,
Thank you, Nick. And Nick is an incredible bass player. He plays bass ukulele as well, one of our new ones.
Yeah.
And of course, that has the Fishman electronics. So if you're out there watching, make sure you check out Nick's stuff too.
Nice. So let me ask you this question. Obviously, you've put out a wide range of instruments. What do you think is the best instrument, personally, that you guys have put out thus far?
Okay, so which
That's a
child
loaded-
is my favorite? Is
that's a
that your
loaded
question?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's going to sound hokey, but Derek knows me.
He's hokey.
It's just like an album, you know. The best thing I put out was the last thing I put out. The best thing I'm going to put out will be the next thing I put out. So there's never the best. It's always it's a growing thing. It's when you have it all figured out is when you absolutely don't have it figured out. So we're constantly looking at what's going on in the market. We're designing for the market and not what we want to see necessarily. It's an evolving market, and there are players out there that are driving and pushing this, and that's great to see. It's exciting to see music growing with the ukulele, but as far as the best model, I don't know that there is a best. There's a best for an entry level player. There's a group maybe of instruments I would suggest, and the same for mid and high. But as far as one instrument fits all, there's no way. So you got to get 4 or 5 or 6 to make sure you're going to meet the needs you're after. So
Now I'll give the answer that everybody wants to hear. What's the one that, if I'm gonna pick just one, because since these are his babies and he's designed them, I'm gonna say the 5-string flame maple. I love our 5 strings. The fact that you have the octave above and the octave below, it's a game changer, especially for someone who's a guitarist that wants to solo on a ukulele. You don't have that reintroduced string, but you're also not losing that high string as well, so you don't lose that drone string. So if you're watching and you haven't tried a 5-string ukulele, do it, and I recommend the flame maple. We make it in acacia as well, but I love the flame maple one.
okay, so since he said it, if you're a guitar player and you've been a little hesitant to jump into the ukulele market because of the tuning of the high string on the one side, the 5-string is built for you. As he said, we have so many guitar players that pick it up, and that's the reason is they don't have to worry about that high string. So the guitar player in you will love the 5-string. That's why
Yep.
A guitar player sits here telling you about a 5-string.
The drummer who plays guitar.
Oh, drummer. Okay.
Yeah, it's even worse.
Wow.
Excellent. Just a quick reminder to everybody, we are live right now with Lanikai. We're broadcasting across our socials, their socials, but we are also doing this great giveaway. Lanikai Julia Michaels signature ukulele. If you haven't entered to win yet, we're giving one away for free. Just look in the description and click the link to get to win. I'm going to pass this off to Mr. Rob Ketch.
Excellent. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking all the time today. I've learned a lot about Lanikai and what you do, even though we've worked together for many years, and really appreciate that. I did want to have that sort of parting question, which was, what is next? What is coming up for Lanikai that you can share with us today? Directions, hints, specific plans. We'd love to hear what you're thinking about for the future as it's available to talk about today.
Well,
I can say it'll probably have Fishman Electronics.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll have that.
Cool.
As we talked about designing, the one thing you want to do is not take away something that's working. And as you mentioned, Rob, Fishman and Lanikai were actually partnering long before I was around with Lanikai. So when I redesigned it, that was one thing I didn't want to change. It's working, and it's worked well for years. And we get excellent reports from sound guys that say, man, the Lanikai, I can EQ that thing with the Fishman in it. It's great. So sound guys, even in Europe, have commented about how great it is, and all across the U.S. here. So that's one thing I won't change. So in the future,
Cool.
I can release this that it will probably have Fishman on it.
Okay.
So there's that.
That's good.
It will follow what we're saying as far as providing what the player wants. But again,
Yeah.
I'm keeping my ear to the market. So I think you're going to see some new things. I have things percolating all the time. So I don't want to release it so much so right now. But he knows I've always got mad scientist stuff going on. So.
He does. He really does. And if I knew, I don't keep secrets very well, so I would tell you.
Yeah.
I'm the last guy you want to tell. any secrets because I'm going to tell every artist on the roster what's coming up.
So when we want to release something, we tell Derek, so he spreads the word immediately.
Yeah,
So
I have a big mouth. It's okay.
there we go.
Awesome.
That's why I'm here.
So
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. I think we're pretty much up on time, but I can't thank you enough for being on this live feed and sharing your socials with us so we can get the message of Lanikai out to the world. I'm going to do a quick exit, but I want to thank you personally for showing up.
thank you.
Yeah,
We
thank you,
appreciate
guys.
it.
This was a
so
lot of
much.
fun.
Yeah, we definitely have to do it again soon. All right, guys, everybody, this was the Fishman Partnership Series. Again, we are giving away a free Lanikai Julia Michaels signature ukulele. Click the link in the description to find out how to win. But we will be here every day at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time with another partner, Fishman partner, that is. And just keep subscribing to our channel, clicking the like and subscribe button, and set your notifications so you don't miss out on any of these events. And we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for showing up.